evidence that people have an innate ability of precognition, the ability to see what will happen before it happens. And maybe when you get that feeling, you're actually remembering a time when you were precognitive of the situation. My deja vu thing here today wasn't quite that. I actually set that up, but I hope it jogs your memory of times when you did feel that way. Other supposedly paranormal phenomena include telepathy, telekinesis, and clairvoyance. Telepathy, the ability to read minds, seems at first ludicrous, at least to a skeptic like myself. But have you ever been in a conversation when someone else suddenly finished your sentence for you? That happens. It happens.
Marriage.
Have you ever heard someone say or think, you know, you just said exactly what I was thinking? That happens, and maybe the people who think that telepathy exists aren't so crazy after all. I mean, reading minds is far-fetched, but it is extremely difficult to disprove. Telekinesis is the same way for me. To say that things can't move by thought alone is a real stretch. But have you ever misplaced your car keys? Only to find them in the most unusual spot? I mean, if gremlins aren't stealing them, then just maybe I am in fact putting my car keys in the freezer while I'm asleep and dreaming. Funny how that only happens Saturday mornings after I get home from Crown and Anchor. Okay, on to the prepared speeches. Our first speaker does not believe in ghosts, but did get creeped out once when his infant daughter seemed to interact with invisible beings. You know, children are much more attuned to paranormal activity than we are. Any palm reader would tell you. Delivering a speech called Money to Burn, ladies and gentlemen, Chancellor.
Today, as it is Halloween, I'm going to talk about something that's really scary and insidious. Yes, my friends. The federal budget! Does anyone know how much money the federal budget planned to spend this year? Anybody?
More than 10 million.
$3.1 trillion. Now, the average American family makes about $50,000. That means that the federal government is spending the equivalent of the entire income of 62 million families, or a little over half of our population. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Surely we reap all sorts of wonderful benefits for this enormous expenditure. And today, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what you're getting for your money. This was the federal budget way back in 2007. As you can see, it was only $2.7 trillion then. The meat of the spending is in this mandatory spending, which is mostly our entitlement programs, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. This other mandatory block, that doesn't work very well, this other mandatory block is unemployment and public welfare assistance for the states, as well as federal employee retirement benefits. So that one's correct. So essentially half of our spending is in public welfare. Now, the intent of these programs is to provide a security net for people so that when they hit hard times, they have an opportunity to bounce back and stay out of poverty. In fact, most of these programs got most of their funding in 1968, when Lyndon B. Johnson kicked off his war on poverty. And I'm sure if we had a graph of the last 50 years, we'd be able to see the wonderful effect that all of these programs have had on poverty. But we do have a graph, of course. Right here, the top line is the number of people that live in poverty in America. The bottom line is the percentage. And you can see this sharp decline right here that must have... Right now, that's 1968 when the war on poverty started. About 12.5% of us live in poverty until today. So, with the war on poverty, we bought no improvement on poverty. Okay, well, what's the next block? Defense, 20% on defense. We know we're getting a lot of bang for our buck with that one, right? We get to buy tanks and airplanes and ships and all kinds of good things to win wars and make the world safe for democracy. Look at all these conflicts we won in the last 60 years. We won Korea. Well, no, we didn't actually win Korea. We won Vietnam. No, definitely didn't win that one. Let's see, Iran hot. No, that wasn't very good. Lebanon, that was ugly. We ran away, what? Iraq, we won that one. We won the first Iraq. Of course, we had to stay there and bomb it for 10 more years. So I'm not sure if that ended up the way we thought it was going to. Somalia. And Iraq, too. Hopefully that one is going to turn out better. But certainly none of these ended up the way we expected them to. Interesting. We've probably got some more on the horizon there. But at least by intervening and picking sides and bombing people all over the world, we have proven that we are the champions of liberty, freedom, and justice for all mankind. Surely the world appreciates that. Or not. Oh, non-defense discretionary spending. I bet that's where all the good stuff is. Let's get into that a little bit more here. What's that top one? Education! Education is good. We all know education is good. That's $80 billion that we're investing in our future, our children. Let's see what the federal government has done to help your children succeed. Oh, look at this. Look at these blue bars. That's how much the federal government has spent on elementary and secondary education for the last 50 years or so. Look at that. We really think education is important. You can see that. That's good. This red line is the reading proficiency of 4th graders. Well, it says only 32% of 4th graders read proficiency. This doesn't seem to be related. I know. You know what? We're spending this money on math and science, which everyone knows is more important than reading anyway. There we go, math and science. Well, those are pretty flat too. This one's going down. Interest. See, we're paying off the national debt. We're paying off the interest of the national debt. That has to be a useful thing. You can't argue against that. Oh wait a minute. We're paying that interest with more money we're borrowing. It's kind of like we're paying off the minimum payments on our credit cards with another credit card. I don't think that's good. I'm not sure. That's not good. Oh, but look, it's $162 billion in 2007. Does anyone know what the deficit was for this year?
500 billion.
455 billion. But that didn't take into account the $700 billion bailout that we just passed, or the $600 billion mortgage bailout that they're trying to pass right now. Yeah. So, well, I hope I've shed a little light on why it's so important for the federal government to come and take most of your money. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to provide us with all of these wonderful things that they've done for us. In all seriousness, the federal government can't solve our problems. No matter how much they spend, it's not a matter of motivation or ideas. As an institution like that simply is not capable of it. We need to keep our money in our pockets and in our communities. We need to have faith in ourselves and each other to solve our problems. We are America, not the federal government. Mr. Toastman.